All right, so we've got some seriously deep analysis of Liverpool's win over Manchester City.
Yeah.
And wow, there's a lot to unpack.
There is?
It wasn't just a win, it felt like they completely took the champions apart.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Yeah.
The 2-0 scoreline might even be a little deceptive.
Okay.
This wasn't just one of those games where Liverpool got lucky
Right.
or City had a bad day,
Yeah.
The analysis you sent really digs into how dominant Liverpool was right from kickoff.
Okay, so the score is 2-0, but you're saying it could have been way worse.
Oh, way worse. I mean, the sources point out that City's keeper didn't even have to make a save until pretty late in the game.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're completely overwhelmed.
So it wasn't just about the goals themselves, but the constant pressure. Like, City was always defending.
Exactly. Liverpool had so many chances, like almost goals.
Yeah.
Van Dijk almost scored with a header. There were shots going just wide.
Oh, wow.
It was nonstop. It almost feels like that 2-0 doesn't really tell the whole story of how in control Liverpool was.
It's giving me, like, serious Jurgen Klopp vibes, That high-intensity pressing,
Yeah.
always attacking. Is that what Arne Slot is building here?
It's looking that way. What's really interesting is that he's taken those basic elements of Klopp's style and kind of put his own spin on it.
Oh, okay.
Like, look how they use Nunez's speed and that aggressive style to force City into making mistakes in their own half.
Right.
The article breaks down that whole sequence that led to the penalty.
Yeah.
It's not just luck.
Yeah.
It's like they plan to disrupt how City builds up their play.
It's like a calculated risk, right?
Exact.
And this isn't a one-off thing. They just beat Real Madrid in the Champions League, too. It feels like Slot has really got them playing well, especially after that shaky start.
Totally agree. He seems to have found that sweet spot.
Yeah.
And you can tell the players are all on board.
And on the other side of things, it's been a pretty rough patch for Manchester City, hasn't it? 7 games without a win, 4 losses in a row. This isn't the City we're used to.
Definitely new territory for Pep.
Yeah.
And you can see the frustration building.
Really?
The article mentions him holding up 6 fingers.
Yeah.
For his 6 Premier League titles.
Oh, wow.
To the Liverpool fans while they were giving him a hard time.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Well, Pep has always struggled at Anfield.
Yeah.
And this match really exposed some of City's weaknesses.
Like what?
Even their veteran players, like Gundogan, they were looking a bit lost out there.
So is this just a bad run? Or are we seeing something more fundamental, like a real shift in who's on top?
That's the big question, isn't it? The analysis goes into some potential systemic issues that City might be dealing with.
Like what?
The lack of service to Haaland, the vulnerability in midfield.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see how Pep adjusts.
Let's talk about some of the performances that stood out. What really caught your eye?
Well, for Liverpool, you got to start with Salah.
Right.
He might have missed that early penalty,
Yeah.
but his vision and assist for Gakpo's goal were just top-notch.
And he still scored in the end.
Yeah, and of course he eventually got his goal from the penalty spot.
That's Salah for you. Always delivers when it matters.
Mm.
How about Gakpo?
Mm.
He seems to be settling in at Anfield.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Scoring the first goal in a match like this is huge for his confidence.
Definitely.
He looks so sharp and calm.
Yeah.
You can see his talent starting to really show.
Defensively, Van Dijk was like a wall.
Oh, Van Dijk was immense. Absolutely. And he almost scored himself, too.
Yeah.
He completely shut down Haaland, which is no small feat.
That's crazy. Speaking of Haaland, he had a really quiet game, didn't he?
He did. The articles all mention how isolated he was,
Right.
barely touched the ball.
It felt like he was almost invisible out there.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Liverpool's midfield and defense did a phenomenal job of cutting off any passes to him.
Yeah.
They basically shut down City's biggest weapon. But it wasn't just about defending, was it?
Right.
Liverpool were creating some amazing chances, too.
Yeah. The article highlights Diaz taking advantage of that mistake from Diaz.
Yeah.
To win the penalty for Salah's goal, that was a smart play.
And that mistake from Diaz wasn't just random, remember.
Yeah.
Nunez's constant pressing forced him into it.
Right.
You can see from the source material that Liverpool just wore City down.
So they went in with a plan and executed it perfectly. Some might even say it was a tactical masterclass.
I think some people might say they just got lucky, though.
Yeah.
City weren't at their best, and those individual errors really made a difference.
What'd you say to that?
I think that underestimates how Slot's tactics affect the players mentally.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can see in Guardiola's reactions.
Yeah.
He was clearly frustrated.
Yeah.
Disrupting City's composure like that It's part of the plan.
Right.
It
Yeah.
forces them into making mistakes.
So with this win, Liverpool are now 11 points clear at the top. It's early, but it's hard not to see this as a big turning point in the title race, right?
It's definitely a blow to City's hopes, no doubt.
Yeah.
The question is, can they recover from this setback?
Yeah.
And can Liverpool keep playing at this level?
Right.
We've seen them start strong before and then fade later in the season.
Okay, those are the big questions. But before we jump into the long-term stuff, let's look at what this match tells us about both teams right now. What were your key takeaways about their strengths and weaknesses?
Well, for Liverpool, this game really showcased their attacking depth and how flexible they can be tactically.
Okay.
They were creating chances from everywhere,
Yeah.
and their pressing was just suffocating.
Yeah.
They also showed they're resilient, even when they missed those early chances, they didn't let up.
Sounds like they had a pretty complete performance. Were there any weaknesses?
Well, if we're nitpicking, their finishing could be more clinical.
Okay.
They could have easily scored 4 or 5 goals if they were more precise.
Right. There's always room for improvement. What about City? Where did they fall short?
Their biggest issue was dealing with Liverpool's intensity.
Right.
They looked rattled right from the start.
Yeah.
Never really found their groove.
Yeah.
Their midfield was too easy to bypass.
Okay.
And their defense, which is usually so solid, made quite a few errors.
It did feel like they were always one step behind.
Exactly. And that lack of service to Haaland was a major concern.
Yeah.
It felt like they were really missing De Bruyne's creativity in the midfield.
Yeah.
He did come on as a substitute,
But
but it was too late.
yeah.
The game was already over.
Right.
It's like Guardiola had to bring on his star player just to save face.
So this match really exposed some cracks in City's armor. Do you think this is just a temporary thing, or are we witnessing a bigger shift in the power dynamic?
It's too early to tell for sure. But this result definitely raises some interesting questions.
Yeah.
City has been the dominant force in English football for the past few years.
Yeah.
But now they're facing a real challenge from a Liverpool side that's playing with so much confidence and tactical intelligence.
So is this the start of a new era for Liverpool under Arne Slot, or will City bounce back?
The million-dollar question, right? The next few weeks will be crucial for both teams.
Okay.
If City can't turn things around quickly, they risk falling too far behind.
Right.
And if Liverpool can maintain this level of performance, they'll be very difficult to catch.
All right, we'll definitely be watching how both teams respond to this. It's shaping up to be a really exciting race for the title. But for now, let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. What are the implications of this match for the Premier League as a whole?
Well, one thing's for sure. This has blown the title race wide open.
Definitely.
It's not just a two-horse race between City and Liverpool anymore.
Okay.
Other teams, like Arsenal and Tottenham, will be looking at this and seeing an opportunity to close the gap.
Right.
This could be one of the most unpredictable and exciting seasons we've seen in a long time.
It definitely feels like a big shakeup, and with the January transfer window coming up, things could get even more interesting.
Absolutely. Teams will be looking to strengthen their squads
Yeah.
and make a push for the title.
Right.
This match could spark some major moves in the transfer market.
This deep dive has been really insightful. We've covered everything from the tactics to the long-term impact on the league. But before we wrap up this part, I'm curious, what's the one takeaway from this match that will stick with you?
For me, it's how Liverpool's pressing completely shut down City's usual slick passing game.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even the best teams can be undone if the other team has a good plan.
That's a great point. It shows that anything is possible in football, and no team is unbeatable. This Liverpool win has definitely shaken things up, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me neither. It's going to be a fascinating second half of the season. And who knows, maybe we'll be back here again soon. Breaking down another twist in the Premier League.
That sounds like a plan. We'll be here, ready to deep dive into it all, but for now, we'll leave you with this. Is this just a blip for City? Or have we seen a permanent shift in power? Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know. It's the question everyone's asking, right?
Yeah.
Is this the end for City? Or just a rough patch? Honestly, I don't think there's an easy answer.
It's tough to just dismiss a team like City. You know, they have the experience, the talent, the manager, but something feels different this time.
What's interesting is it's not just about this one game. The sources are pointing to a pattern here. The lack of service to Haaland, that weakness in midfield,
Right.
the uncharacteristic mistakes at the back. These aren't just isolated incidents.
Yeah.
They suggest there are some systemic issues that Guardiola needs to fix.
And you have to think about how a loss like this affects them mentally, too. They were outplayed, outfought, outsmarted. That can really hurt a team's confidence, even a team as good as City.
Absolutely. And then you have Liverpool playing with so much swagger right now. They aren't just winning, they're dominating, controlling the pace, the game, everything. It's like they know they're going to be champions.
It's crazy how momentum can shift like that. Last season, it was City that seemed invincible. Now it's Liverpool radiating that championship energy.
And that shift in momentum can be a powerful thing. Other teams see City struggling, and those sense an opportunity.
Right.
The pressure builds. It'll be fascinating to see how Guardiola and his players respond.
Speaking of pressure, let's talk about Arne Slot. He came in with such high expectations after Klopp left. There were a lot of doubters. But he's really proved them wrong, hasn't he?
He has. He's gone beyond what anyone expected. And what's impressive is that he didn't just try to copy Klopp's style. He's taken that foundation and added his own tactical touches.
Yeah.
The result is a team that's both exciting and really effective.
And the players seem to have really bought into what he's doing. You can see that belief, that desire to win every ball. They're celebrating with such joy. It's contagious.
That unity, that shared goal, it's what makes a great team. Everyone pulling in the same direction, it makes them really strong.
So what happens next in all of this? What will tell us if this is just a blip for City or the start of something new for Liverpool?
Well, for City, the January transfer window is crucial. They need to fix those midfield issues, figure out how to get Haaland more involved, and get back to that solid defense they were known for.
So they can't just sit around and hope things change on their own. They need to be proactive.
Right, and Liverpool need to be careful not to get complacent. They have a target on their back now. They have to stay focused, keep that intensity up, and avoid any big injuries.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, as they say.
Exactly. Consistency is key. And then there's that intangible factor. Mentality. Can City recover from this mentally and get back to winning ways? Can Liverpool handle being the favorites and stay hungry for more?
Those are the things that often determine who wins close races. How each team handles those mental challenges will be fascinating to watch.
This match was about more than just 3 points. It was a statement from Liverpool.
Yeah.
And a wake-up call for City. The balance of power has shifted, at least for now. But football is unpredictable. Anything can happen. That's what keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. We've looked at the tactics, the history, those amazing performances, the bigger context of it all. But now let's shift our focus to one player who's been key to this power shift. Mo Salah.
Ah, the Egyptian king. He was brilliant against City, involved in both goals,
Yeah.
created so many chances, just gave City's defense nightmares with his pace and skill.
It feels like he's reached another level this season. He's always been amazing, but there's something more, like an extra layer of confidence.
What's remarkable is he's doing this while adapting to a new system with Slot. Some players struggle with that kind of tactical change.
Right.
But Salah has embraced it. He's even better now.
It shows how smart he is. He's always trying to improve, not satisfied with what he's already achieved, always evolving.
That's what makes him a true great. Salah's leadership on and off the pitch is clear. His influence on this Liverpool team is huge.
He's more than just a goal scorer. He creates, he inspires. He's a symbol of how Liverpool has come back to the top. His performance against City was like a perfect example of what makes this team so special.
You're absolutely right. Salah embodies everything about this Liverpool team. That hunger, that relentlessness, that confidence. He's the driving force behind their push for the title. It's going to be exciting to see what he does for the rest of the season.
Absolutely, he's a joy to watch. But while we're admiring Salah's brilliance, let's not forget the other players who have helped Liverpool get to this point. Let's highlight some of those unsung heroes who are making such a big difference.
One player who comes to mind right away is Fabinho, that anchor in midfield, shielding the defense, doing the dirty work so the attackers can shine.
He's the engine that keeps them going, breaking up opposition attacks, setting the tempo.
Exactly. He might not be flashy, might not score a lot of goals,
Yeah.
but he's so valuable. He holds the team together.
And next to Fabinho, you have Jordan Henderson working so hard, the captain, the leader, the heart and soul of this team.
He's everywhere on the pitch, making crucial interceptions, motivating his teammates with his passion. He's that never-give-up spirit that Liverpool is known for.
And then there are the young fullbacks, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson. They're not just defenders, they're attacking threats too, providing width, crosses, assists.
They're the perfect examples of the modern fullback, up and down the flanks. causing problems for the other team with their speed and accuracy.
They're both fantastic on their own, but together they're such a strong partnership. That's a big part of why Liverpool is so dangerous in attack.
It really shows how good a coach Slot is. He's managed to get the best out of every player, created a system that plays to their strengths.
The result is a team that's greater than the sum of its parts. They're playing with a confidence that reminds me of those great Liverpool teams from the past.
And who knows, maybe they're on the way to creating their own legacy, their own chapter in Liverpool's history.
To understand that history a bit better, let's go back in time. Let's look at how this rivalry between Liverpool and City has developed. It wasn't always this huge clash that it is today.
You're right, for a long time, Liverpool was the dominant team in English football, and City was often in their shadow. But in recent years, things have changed. City became the team to beat.
So this win for Liverpool feels like they're reclaiming their historical dominance. Like they're saying, we're back on top.
It definitely has that symbolic meaning. And for the fans, it's a moment of huge pride.
The atmosphere at Anfield must have been incredible. To see their team beat the champions like that, it must have been unforgettable.
There's nothing like a big game at Anfield. Especially when Liverpool plays like that. The roar of the crowd, the passion of the fans, it all adds to the occasion.
This match was a clash of styles, philosophies, a test of character, and in the end, Liverpool won, showing that their attacking, high-energy style of football is still a force to be reckoned with.
It was a tactical masterclass from Slot. He outcoached Guardiola, who's much more experienced. It's a performance that Liverpool fans will remember for a long time.
This deep dive has been an amazing journey. We've gone through the tactics, the history, the emotions of this epic match. But as we're nearing the end of our analysis, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Go ahead.
This match wasn't just about the score. It was about the spirit, the passion, the belief that anything is possible when a team comes together with a shared purpose. It reminded us that in football, just like in life, the underdogs can rise up and beat the giants.
Well said. That's what makes this sport so magical. It reminds us that all those ideas we have about teams, about dynasties, and who's on top, they can change so quickly. And that's what makes this season so exciting. It's not over yet. This is going to be a real battle.
And it's not just about who wins the league, right?
Right.
Think about the Champions League, transfers, how young players develop. This match will have an impact on everything.
Exactly. Imagine a young player watching that game, seeing how fearless Liverpool were. It might inspire them to work harder, believe in themselves more, dream bigger. That's the power of one game.
It goes beyond just what happened on the pitch, right? It's about the stories we tell, the heroes we make, the dreams we chase. And this win for Liverpool, it adds a whole new layer to all of that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this. Don't just follow the headlines. Don't just accept the easy stories, dig deeper, question things. Think about the bigger picture. Because the most interesting stories, they're usually hidden beneath the surface.
That's a great point. We've looked at the tactics, the history, the individual performances, the wider context, but in the end, it's up to you to decide what you think, to form your own opinions, to connect with the game in a way that means something to you.
Because that's the beauty of football, right? It's a sport that makes people debate, that fuels passion, that invites us to be a part of the drama. So go out there, watch the games, analyze the moves, and let the stories of the season unfold.
And who knows, maybe we'll be back here soon talking about another big moment in this crazy world of football. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that passion for the game alive.
Until next time, keep diving deep.